In this video, we're going to take a look at site architecture. This is the way that you not only organize your files when you're building a website, but how you actually arrange for a user to get the information that they're looking for. When you start to work on your website, you should have an idea and sketch out the structure of your site in terms of a kind of a flow chart. So you may have, you will definitely have a home page, which is always called index.html. And this is, by default, the starting point of your website. And you may have a top menu which has several items. Let's say there's over here a contact, about us, store, and services. And each one of these would be a page. And you would create links to all these pages. Now, this would be your navigation. Some of these pages might have pages under them. So you've got different services. You've got different products in your store. And this would be a cloud of several different pages. So this is the architecture of your site. When you consider the actual organization of the files, generally speaking, you have your index.html. This is the starting point. And then under that, you may have different directories. For example, there will be a CSS directory with the styles.css file in it. You can have your images sitting loose at the root, or you can create a folder and call it images, for example, and then move your images into that. You can, if you like, have your subpages, everything that is not your index, for example, images, links, lists. These are all pages that I've created on previous videos. I'm going to put those in. Here's a PNG file that I forgot to put into the images. So I've got a very tight, clean organization. You may have a folder as well. Once you get developing websites, it's called JS for JavaScript. One thing that I should note is that these directories and these files are only things that I'm expecting to copy over to the web server. For things like Adobe Photoshop files or Illustrator files, I have them in a separate place. So I may have directories which have my Photoshop and Illustrator and InDesign files and all the other stuff in a separate folder which is also backed up, but it is not actually part of the website. Don't use the web server to store your Photoshop and Illustrator files. That's not what the server is for. The server is for web files only. I'm going to show you an example of a real flowchart. In this flowchart, there are several items in a top menu: home page, quality, about us, contact us, and login. From the home page, the user goes to a doctor's main button and a patient's login button, depending on who they are. If they're a physician, they go to the main section for doctors, which has a main menu looking like this. Under the products, there are buttons that allow the user to search by name, category, and ingredient, and then information about the individual product. From each of these, the pages from quick order, products, and marketing support, you can add products to the cart and then check out. On all pages, there's a footer menu that has these items. So this is an example of a flowchart that provides a client with a good idea of how the functionality is actually going to be presented to the user. So as a designer, this is one of the things that you would provide for your client before you actually start coding. And this is a program called OmniGraffle Pro. It's a good program for the development of websites. The other thing that OmniGraffle does, which is very, very useful, is it will allow you to take each of these boxes and expand on it and actually create what are called wireframes. And so this has, let's go to our home page. This is a wireframe of what the user would see when they get to the home page or index.html. Here's the top menu. There's a search. There's a newsletter sign up. A banner which rotates, showing current products, perhaps special sales, and then the choice. If you're a physician, you put in your email and password and you log in as a practitioner. If you're a patient, fill in these and click patient login. If you don't have an account, you can click one of these to get started. Each one of these blue things is a button. So if I want to go and take a look at what the login would look like, I just click that and it takes me to, it's hyperlinked to another page which is called Doctor's Main. And this is what the physician would see as a welcome. If I want to look at the shopping cart, this is what a sample shopping cart would look like, and so on. So this is a way for you to very quickly sketch out. And when I say quickly, this probably took me 3 or 4 days to actually get it to the point where I could be confident that the client was happy with this and was ready for us to go the next step and actually start coding. In actual fact, I did the architecture and I did the wireframes, and then I passed all this information to a developer who actually wrote the code and put the site together. And that's an introduction to site architecture.